Today we are starting K-2, so take your black learning log and open to a new spelling section. We're going to start on words 1 through 10 on the first blank section. But really quickly, we're going to review some phonograms. Ready? E, F, A. Ow, O, U, O, two-letter O that we may not use at the end of English words. The of her. The of church. The of first. The of worship. The of early. Okay, and a reminder, English words do not end in what? V or U. Or I. Right? I is what I was looking for here. This first word, we typically say story. But for spelling class, what does this letter say? Yeah. As a consonant, yeah. As a vowel, I. Okay, so you're thinking about English words do not end in I or I. So we're going to say story. He told the marvelous story of the loaves and fishes. Okay, we've got a couple rules that go with this one, right? A, E, O, U, usually say A, E, O, U at the end of a syllable. So we've got story. We've also got a reminder that I and Y usually say I at the end of a syllable, but may say I like lion or cry. So we're saying story because if I have more than one, it's stories, right? So STORI wouldn't work because we don't end English words with I. So Y is our stand-in, right? And then English words do not end in I, U, V, or J. So that kind of reminds you, I'm saying story. Y stands for I at the end of English words. And I at the end indicates a word that retains a foreign spelling like ski, spaghetti, bonsai, right? Or a shortened form of an English word like taxi is actually taxi cab. Okay, so when you think story, or if you think the long I, we have to have a stand-in for the I, right? You got to stand in. So let's do this one together. First me. Story. How many syllables? Two. First syllable sto. St-o. Second syllable r-i. And remember, English words don't end in I. So what's our stand-in for I?
Y.
Or Y. Ready? Here we go. Story. First syllable sto. St-o. Second syllable r-i. Whisper as you write it as to not bother your neighbor.
Story.
Missing the pen. Okay, sound it out for me.
Story.
Okay, so you thought store-e, which would maybe you want your hand to write one of these, but we're not doing these ones. We're doing store-i because this one, oops, wrong one. This one stands in for I or I because English words don't end in I, right? And if I was going to make this into more than one, you drop the I and add ES, right? Mm-hmm. So this Y is a stand-in for I since English words don't end in I. What red markings?
Underline or.
We're not actually going to do this as or. We're going to do this as sto-ri. And remember the O, A-E-O-U can say A-E-O-U at the end of a syllable.
But it's story.
Right, that is a name right there. And then how about that last one? R-I. as a vowel, because every syllable needs a vowel, that says is. It's for the sound. All right, for cursive, remember our S is pointy, right? So we're going to go up to midline at a point, swoop around at 9 o'clock, and swoop back out. Your T is an uphill letter, uphill to the top, straight down to baseline in a curve. Your O is a clock letter, stop at 2 o'clock, come back around and connect, and a ponytail. If I say S-T-A, if my little tail comes down here, is S-T-A-R-Y a word?
Starry.
Well, starry has 2 R's, but it'd be confusing, right? So make sure you get your points up there. R is an uphill letter. We're already halfway, so up to midline, down the shelf, back to baseline. Y is an uphill letter, to midline, bump at baseline, back to midline, loop under the line, and pick up your pencil and cross your T. Story. Or story for spelling. He told me the marvelous story of the loaves and fishes. The next word is shore. For Bible truths, our fathers abandoned their native shore for the wilderness, said President Z. Taylor. So a lot of times when people came from England, they were looking for religious freedom from the Anglican Church, right? A little bit of history lesson in there. So we've got shore. How many syllables? Shower? Or is it just shore? She picked up seashells on the seashore.
I think it's one syllable.
It's only one. It's not shorer. It's just shore. And we're going to look at something that compares to the first one in a second. Ready? Shore. Sh. Or. I'm sorry. Sh. O. R. I'm not putting or together because we have a silent E. Ready? Sh. O. R. Go here. Yes, the dog is chasing a bug on the glass. Hey, knock it off. Okay, here we go. Ready? Do it with me. Shore. Sh. O. R. She is supposed to say it out loud when we're doing it together. Don't ask her to stop. She can whisper softly when she's writing. Yes, but she has to say it when we're doing it together. Okay, so say it as you write it. Whisper as you write it, I guess.
Wait, what?
Shore. Spell it out for me.
O.
Sh. O. R. Silent E. If I wrote the word,
Write this down.
Lord, what would I underline in red if I wrote the word Lord? No, don't write this down. Just answer the question. I would underline the or, right? Because I'm not saying Lord. I'm not saying Lord. Lord. When you have or together and it makes the same sound with no other ancillary things, you can say or together really quickly and it's one syllable, right? But this one, if I just had S-H-O-R, that just doesn't look right, right? And then it wouldn't be O, right? Because what is this?
Shar?
Oh my goodness. What would this say? A-O-U, right? So it'd be like ox, char. And that's not right. We're going to go to the seashore. So we can't have it as or because we need to have something else to help it out, right? So what are my red markings? Why do we have a silent E? We've got 5 reasons for Rule 7, but let's look at the first one. Vowel sound changes because of the E. Very good.
Also underline the sh.
So we're going to underline the sh. We're going to underline the O once, the E twice, and an arc between. Shore. Same thing that we had up here, right? If we just did OR, store. it'd be one syllable, right? Store. But this is story. Story. And we need to have a vowel in that syllable. Remember, our S is kind of pointy, right? So we're going to go up to midline at a point, loop around to 9 o'clock, and swing back out for your S. Our H is a loop letter. Loop all the way to the top, straight down to baseline, bump at midline, back to baseline. Our O is a clock letter. Stop at 2 o'clock, come back around and connect, and a ponytail. Our R is an uphill, but we're already halfway up the hill, so up to midline, down the shelf, back to baseline. And our E is a little loop at midline. If I don't keep my ponytail up top here, if I come back, what does S-H-A-R spell? E. Share. Okay, so you want to make sure that you get your ponytail up for the O. Very good. The next word, oh wait, really quickly. Rule 10. We have our sh, right? Let's remember our rule for this one. Sh is used at the beginning of a word, like she, ship, show. At the end of a syllable, like fish, wish, dish. Not at the beginning of any syllable, though, like nation, caution, that's T-I, except for ship, friendship, lordship, okay? So, sonship, yep. So go ahead and go to the SH page. Can I see your book real quick? Can I see your book real quick? So the SH page is page B, 7 and 8. And we had the 5 spellings of sh. So the most common sh is the SH that we use in the word shore, right? So here at the beginning of a word, that's where that would shore go? Yep. So you can write shore in this first box right here. Not at the end of a syllable, fish, not with ending ship like friendship. We're going to write shore right here, not the T-I-C-I-S-I. Right there. Already have that written down?
Nope.
Okay.
She, short, shop, show, ship,
Shore. And when you've got the word shore written down, go ahead and go back to your section where we're doing the next word.
Where is it?
Here. Shore.
Where? After shape?
Yep. After shape. Under shape. Let's use the correct descriptive word.
Okay, after shape.
After could mean next to. Good. Scooch back to your section now. Our third word for today is oak. Kind of interesting, the spelling of oak is connected to the Old English word acorn. What kind of tree does an acorn fall from? An oak tree. Okay, so think about the 2 words that are in the word acorn, 2 vowels I mean, and then think of this phonogram. Ready? God made each tree and herb, the tall oak and the low bush, says McGuffey Primer. Okay? Oak. O. We'll do it this way. Oak. See that? Ready? Here we go. Oak. Oak. Whisper it as you write it. Those of you who did not do the clapping. Look at this phonogram. O. Whisper as you write it. It is the same as oat. Same as spelling as oat.
What, it is oak?
Same ending as goat, boat. No, we're spelling oak.
Oat.
An oak tree.
Oat.
And when I'm saying k, it's
Oat.
the most common k, that sound that you hear, that's its own syllable k.
How do you do a K?
Okay, sound it out for me.
O.
That's cool.
If I just put this, does it say O?
Yes.
No, it's not the end of a syllable. This is an abbreviation, right, for the word okay. That's the shortened version of okay. This would say awk, right, because the first sound of this is awk. So you got to make sure you get. How could I do this? Could I make it like this? Oak?
Yeah.
I could. That's not how you spell oak tree, but what if I added this?
Oak. I don't know.
Right? So the oak word can also be written like this, but in this case, we're using this phonogram. Underline the O.
Okay.
The next word we typically don't pronounce our first phonogram, but in spelling today we're gonna think to spell one that we typically say is silent. Okay, the word is our, but not this is our house. It is our. The darkest hour is just before dawn. So we're gonna think.
Really?
And in the Greek, ora. Hora is the Greek word for time. Ora, ahora in Spanish is now. Okay, so you're going to think hour. And remember in our spelling, our phonograms, what can these two letters say? Ow, o, oo, Very good. So we're going to think hour. Because or by itself is or, right? You or me. So we're thinking hour. Don't sing golden hour again. Okay, ready? Here we go. Hour. Hour. Even though it's silent when we say it. Okay, say it, but say it to think to spell. Here we go.
If it's one syllable,
Hour.
would it be
Hour. Okay, do it with me. Hour. Hour. What is your question?
If it's one syllable instead of hour, wouldn't it be hour?
That is a really good point. You're right. Hour probably would be look like this. Hour, right? 2 syllables. Hour. That's not what I'm spelling. I'm saying hour. 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 Yeah, one syllable. Hour. Hour. It's hard to kind of mix it together, then also break it apart to think to spell it. What is the homophone for this, but it's not spelled the same? Our, right? This is our house. So at this hour, we get our house. Like if you bought a house, right? So as you whisper it as you write it. And remember, you're sounding out that first one we typically are silent on. Say it as you write it. Or spell it for me, I mean. Hour. So the phonogram, you would say them the same. This hour, I'm going to take a shower. I should have put those two hours together, hours together. This is our hour. You could say that before your basketball game. Guys, this is our hour. Right? You get excited. Our hour. So that is that a phonogram?
Yeah.
It's not a phonograph. It's not written the same. It's a homophone. Homo, same, phones, hearing. Okay, so if you want to remember, this is our, you're going to throw an H in the front of it. Okay, our. For cursive, let's scooch back to oak. Our tall oak tree. All right, which drops acorn. This is a very large acorn. O is a clock letter. Stop at 2 o'clock, come back around and connect, and a ponytail. A is also a clock letter. Stop at 2 o'clock, come back around and connect, back to baseline. K is a loop letter. Tall loop at the top, back, straight down, bump at the shoulder, and a long tail. Then hour. H is a loop letter, loop all the way to the top, straight to the bottom, bump at midline, back to baseline. O is a clock letter, stop at 2 o'clock, come back around and connect in a ponytail. U is an uphill letter, but we're already up halfway up the hill, so we're going to bump at midline, back to baseline. I'm sorry, bump at baseline, up to midline, back to baseline. Our R is an uphill to midline, down the shelf, back to baseline. And I forgot to ask you, what are our red markings? We actually are going to underline the H 2 times. This is our silent letter. Okay, we're not going to say hour. We're going to think hour, but we're going to say hour. And then we're going to underline our ow. Very good. The next one is better. The narrow way is far better, is the far better road that leads to life. Now, in our very quick and lazy speaking, how do we say this? Give me the better one, right? We say d usually. But we're going to be precise in our language. We're going to think to spell better. Better. Because remember the rule that says when there's a double like apple, we sound out both consonants. Okay, better. Ready? Better. First syllable bet. Second syllable ter. Watch me. Okay, do it with me. Ready? Better. First syllable bet. Second syllable ter. Say it as you write it. Better. Whisper as you write it. Spell it out for me. Very good. Does yours look like mine?
Yeah.
What are our markings? First sound? Yes. First sound? Yes. First sound? Yes. First sound? Yes. 2-letter phonogram. For cursive, I'm going to show you the B before I write it. Remember, we've got a loop letter with like a big belly here. So we're going to loop all the way to the top, back to baseline, come up with the belly, and out at midline. E is a loop letter. We're already at midline, so we're just going to do a little loop, back to baseline. L is a tall loop. T is an uphill letter, all the way to the top, back to baseline. Another T, all the way to the top, back to baseline. E is a little loop, so a little loop at midline. R is uphill to midline, down the shelf, back to baseline. Pick up your pencil and cross your 2 T's. Better. Then go ahead and find the page. Can I use your book real quick?
Yeah.
Is B5 and 6. Oops. So we've got her church first worships early. So you can add better under what? What was your last word?
Driver.
You had driver, but if you followed my last lesson, that would be supper. So go ahead and write better.
Where is it? What number?
I'm not sure what number.
B4.
Some of you have done the page kind of out of order, but just in case someone's going in order.
No, what? B4.
Oh, B5. B5. 7 spellings of
What was the last one?
Better.
No, so it was covered and better.
Yes.
What's the last one you did before better?
The next word is scent. Just a reminder of our rule. When can this say C says before E, I, and Y, right? Now listen, because I'm saying another homophone, but it's not a homograph. Okay? Cent. A penny is called 1 cent. I'm not saying yesterday you sent